Hey, this is CD Channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for UFC Fight Night 53, Nelson versus Story, which happens on October 4th. All the fights will be on UFC Fight Pass. Overall, it's just an alright card. I mean, you do got some decent prospects on here, which is nice to see. Gunnar Nelson, of course. Always a pleasure to see Max Holloway. Latifi's actually not too bad. Niklas Backstrom, very good prospect there. Scott Askham, very good prospect. Dennis Siver's fighting. Zubair Tukhugov, he's really good. Marcin Bandel makes his UFC debut. So there's some decent prospects, a couple just like mid-level guys as well. So not too bad, but not the greatest fight night card. Regardless, let's get started. In the main event, we have Gunnar Nelson versus Rick Story. Rick Story has a 17-8 record with 4 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. He's 30 years old. So far, he's trading wins and losses. His most recent fight was a win. So, by that record, his next fight should be a loss. But he's training out the MMA lab these days with the likes of like Benson Henderson. John Raga trains there as well. The thing with Story is really aggressive, always pushing forward. He'll use his stand-up's good, especially with his aggression. It's not always the most technically sound. He will use body strikes. He likes to pressure guys up against the cage and just unleash body strikes. He actually has a good leg kicking game as well. And he does have a solid chin. A guy that's, I don't know if he's been stopped by strikes yet, actually. His offensive wrestling is good. He does have some solid ground and pound. But his takedown defense is actually not very good. I think that might actually be because of his aggression. I think he doesn't always have his legs underneath him sometimes, and he has a really erect and upright. He has a really upright stance too. So it's easy. It seems like it's easy to go for the legs on him. His cardio is questionable as well. Sometimes, like in the third round, he doesn't look that great. He is pretty big for a 170 though. And Gunnar Nelson looks like he can cut to 155. Gunnar Nelson, 13-0 undefeated record with 1 draw, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 9 wins by sub. He's 26 years old on a 13-fight win streak. It's only his draw that he got was in his first pro MMA fight. He trains out of his own gym. It's the name of Thor's hammer. Moljanir, I think. I don't know if you pronounce the M or not. That's the name of his gym. But he also trains out of SBG Ireland with the likes of like Conor McGregor and Cathal Pendred and like Patrick Holohan and those other guys have SBG Ireland. He is one of the top Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners pretty much in the world. He has really strong his transitional game is really good too. The way he can like take the back, the way he can take a snap, grab a neck, like and get a guillotine. He has such a strong transitional game in his grappling. His stand-up is karate style stand-up, hands down. Pretty accurate striker actually. He was frustrating Zach Cummings in his last fight with the cross. I forgot if he's southpaw or not. But yeah, he has a karate style stand up. His wrestling actually isn't too bad too. The only thing that really works against Gunnar Nelson, to be honest with you, he doesn't have the most power in his strikes, but he is small for a weight class, and Rick Story's big for the weight class. So that could be a deciding factor. However, Gunnar Nelson has fought big welterweights. Zach Cummings used to fight at light heavyweight at one time, and now fights at welterweight, and Gunnar Nelson beat him. Omari Akhmedov, Omari Akhmedov fought at middleweight. cut down to welterweight. Nelson beat him. Jorge Santiago used to fight at middleweight. Cut to welterweight. Gunnar Nelson beat him. So Gunnar Nelson does have experience beating larger competition. So with that said, I gotta go with Gunnar Nelson to win this one. I think what also works against Rick Story is like he will have the size advantage, so that'll be pretty tough. Makes it a tough test for Gunnar Nelson. Like I said with Story though, his takedown defense is a bit questionable. You know, it's not that strong. He actually gets taken down by a good amount of his opposition. I think most of his opposition in the UFC has taken down Rick Story. I think Gunnar Nelson will be able to take down Story. And from there he'll probably use his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game, his superior Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game. Maybe even take Story's back and get the win. And the stand-up, it does prove to be interesting because Rick Story is just so aggressive. Gunnar Nelson has that karate style stand-up, so it's a very interesting style matchup. I kind of wonder if that actually plays into Gunnar Nelson's style or not. Tough to say. Nonetheless, Gunnar Nelson for the win. Next fight off that, Akira Corassani fights Max Holloway. Originally it was supposed to be Akira Corassani versus the Korean Zombie, and then Korean Zombie got injured or something, and then Max Holloway is now fighting. Holloway has a 10-3 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. He's only 22 years old on a 3-fight win streak. He has some really strong technical stand-up. You know, he'll use combinations. His takedown defense is improving, and his overall grappling has been improving. Yeah, got that nice guillotine submission win over a good prospect in Andre Fili. So he's definitely working on his grappling game, and his stand-up game is just solid. The guy's really technical. He uses combinations well. A good counter striker as well. I forgot to mention that. Good counter striker. He also aimed for the body too. Akira Corassani, 12-4 record, 1 win by TKO, 3 wins by sub. He also has 4 losses by KO or TKO. He's 32 years old. Trains out of Henzo Gracie's. He actually has some solid stand-up, a decent left hook. He moves well in the stand-up. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills aren't too bad. And he even dropped, did he drop or wobble Dustin Poirier? Managed to beat Robbie Peralta using his superior movement. Problem with Corassani though is he's a bit, I guess the word is fragile. You know, I don't think he has the best chin. Like he's a guy that when he gets hit and really faces adversity, he seems to crumble. I have to say. With that said, I think that Max Holloway is a more polished striker. Should be able to defend a takedown to Corassani. And got to go with Max Holloway for the win there. Next fight is that Ilir, the Sledgehammer Latifi, fights Jan Blachowicz. I think that's how you pronounce it. Blachowicz, he has a 17-3 record. 4 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub. 31 years old on a 5-fight win streak. It's his first fight in the UFC. Stand-up's good. He'll switch stances. He's not a combination striker though. He is a 1 and 2 type of striker. You know, throw a head kick, throw a jab, maybe throw a two strike combination, but he doesn't really go past that. He throws a lot of ones, to be perfectly honest with you. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills are pretty good. He has a good armbar from his back. He has shown, I saw his fight against Goran Raljic. In the first round especially, he showed he could get taken down. And the other thing is, he seemed a bit content off his back. Didn't seem to have that much sense of urgency to get back to his feet. With Latifi, he has a 9-3 record with 1 no contest. 3 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. He's 31 years old. A 2-fight win streak. This dude is so strong, man. His nickname's the Sledgehammer, and like seriously, like that is like the most apt nickname I can think of for a fighter. I mean, he's just little Sledgehammer. I mean, the guy is just this freaking strong guy. He's heavy-handed. His stand-up's not too bad. He actually shows a decent leg kick, and he just has some really heavy hands. He's a good wrestler too. He's just like this little bulldog about getting the fight to the ground. He has a good front choke actually. Usually against a real Diabati, if I'm not mistaken. It's a strong little guy, man. Well, I shouldn't say little, but like he's not tall for a weight class, but he's like super strong. You know. With that said, it's tough to say who's going to win. I'm kind of leaning towards Latifi because I kind of get this impression that Latifi can get the fight to the ground and stay on top. You know, it doesn't help with Blachowicz too that he only lands like 1s and 2s. Against a guy like Latifi who hits so hard, he's got to be very mindful as well. I got to go with Ilir Latifi here. I think he can take the fight to the ground, specifically. And I can see him win there. Next fight after Niklas Backstrom fights Mike Wilkinson. Strange bit of matchmaking here. First of all, Niklas Backstrom, he's undefeated. And he's coming off a win over Tom Niinimaki. Young prospect, up-and-coming guy. Top, you know, elite potential here. Wilkinson, guy's coming off a loss. He last fought in June 2013. He lost to Honey Jason. Don't know what they're going with here. Guy coming off a loss versus guy coming off a win. Kind of strange to me. Backstrom, 8-0, undefeated record with 1 no contest. 4 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. 25 years old. 6-fight win streak. He trains out of All Stars Training Center. Magnus Cedenblad trains there. I know that Alexander Gustafsson trains there, along with Alliance. Nicholas Musoke trains there as well. So they got a good camp out of All Stars these days. He does have a strong strong grappling and improving stand up. Wilkinson, 8-1 record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. 27 years old. Last fought in June 2013. You know, not much I can say about the guy. You know, just good, average stand-up, good enough grappler. You know, was kind of wary though because that Bazeha managed to get Honey Jason managed to get the triangle the way he did. I mean, it was a really slow. He kind of threw it up, didn't have it locked in. Wilkinson just kind of stayed there. You know, and then, you know, Jason really just managed to kind of slowly lock it in. I mean, it wasn't the best awareness on Wilkinson's part to lose in that manner. It wasn't like this slick triangle that like he just like slapped it on like right away or anything like that. It wasn't like that at all. So with that said, Niklas Backstrom for the win here. Okay, on to the prelims. Scott Askham fights Magnus Cedenblad. Cedenblad has a 12-4 record, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 5 wins by sub. He also has 3 losses by submission. 32 years old, 2-fight win streak. Trains out of All Stars Training Center. His stand-up's solid. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really improving. He submitted Krzysztof Jotko, who's fighting on this card, by guillotine. I believe he submitted Jared Hammond by guillotine as well. His only loss, I believe, is to the now released Francis Carmon, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Scott Askham, 12-0, undefeated record. 7 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. It is his first fight in the UFC. I watched his fight actually with against Max Nunez as a Bama fight. He won in the 3rd round by TKO. I liked his stand-up. I particularly liked his clinch game. He throws really good knees and elbows from the clinch. His ground game didn't look too bad too. He was on top of Max Nunez for in the 1st round. Looked pretty good. Just a really solid fighter. I liked what I saw from him. Really liked his clinch game, especially with his knees. I'm going to go with Askham for the win here. I will admit, I do underestimate Magnus Cedenblad a lot, though. Yeah, he's a solid fighter himself, Cedenblad is, but I see some good potential in Askham here. Next fight with that, Nico Musoke fights Alexander Yakovlev. Yakovlev has a 21-5 record with 1 draw, 8 wins by KO or TKO, 8 wins by sub. He also has 3 losses by submission. 30 years old. He's got some solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Stand-up's pretty average. He had a really tough out in his first fight in the UFC. I mean, he got Damian Maia. Funny thing about Yakovlev actually helps Maia's one of his stats. Yakovlev is the first guy to officially get dropped by Damian Maia. Fighters that have got wobbled on the feet or stunned on the feet, like Mark Munoz, for example, by Damian Maia, but Yakovlev is the first to actually get dropped by Damian Maia. Maia managed to control him on the ground, but he had good enough submission defense. Got mounted multiple times, but it's Damian Maia, you know. But Yakovlev actually legitimately does have good ground skills. Niklas Musoke, 12-3 record, one no contest, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 5 wins by sub, 28 years old, trains out of All Stars Training Center. Musoke is a guy that actually keeps I keep underestimating. I mean, he last fought against the Ultimate Fighter winner, that young guy. Jeez, forgot his name. But he won the first round. Musoke did, and then he lost the next 2. Totally forgot the guy's name now. The guy who beat Uriah Hall. But anyways, he has a solid stand-up game, and his ground game is actually pretty slick. He does have some cardio issues though, but otherwise, I like Musoke's stand-up and his ground game's, like I said, pretty slick. I gotta go with Niklas Musoke to win that one. Next fight, that Dennis Siver fights Taylor Lapilus. Taylor Lapilus is actually taking this fight on some short notice. I forgot who the original opponent was. But Lapilus, 8-1 record, 6 wins by submission, 2 wins by decision. He's only 22 years old. He's on a 3-fight win streak. It's his first fight in the UFC. Does have some good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Dennis Siver, 21-9 record with 1 no contest, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 9 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO and 5 losses by sub. He's 35 years old. He is big for 145. He has this karate style stand up where he uses a lot of kicks, uses a lot of movement. The guy's just really strong too. He actually has some pretty good grappling. He managed to out grapple the likes of Manny Gambarian. Took him down, grinded a victory against Gambarian, who's actually pretty well known for having like really good top control and decent grappling himself. Took him down, took his back, got to win that, or I think I got turned to no contest. He even managed to take down Cub Swanson in the first round, or Dennis Siver did. First round of their fight. Got the first round against Cub Swanson, you know. So, with that said, yeah, I gotta go Dennis Siver to win this one. A lot more experience against higher level fighters. Dennis Siver for the win there. Next fight, I thought Cathal Pendred fights Gasan Umalatov. I gotta say, I get really confused with these odds. There's like Albert Einstein, Tumanov, Gasan Umalatov, Zubera Tukhugov. I'm missing Omar Akhmadov. And in Bellator, there's like Vitaly Minakov. There's a lot of Ovs these days, and a lot of them have Sambo backgrounds. Baga Utinov. And I get them confused too. Like I forgot if Gasan Umalatov. I actually mistaked him for Tumanov. Like I had to look at the stats to see that they fought different guys. So with that said, Gasan Umalatov, 15-3 record with 1 draw, 2 wins by KO TKO, 7 wins by sub, 31 years old, trains out of Fight Night's team. Guys that train out there, Vitaly Minakov, Ali Bagaitunov, trained out there as well. He lost against Neil Magny, but Neil Magny has proven to be a really good fighter. He couldn't get inside of Neil Magny, that was the thing. And then he just won against Paul Tiago. It looks like anyone can win against Paul Tiago these days. But I like his stand-up skills. He does have good grappling as well. Cathal Pendred, 14-2 record with 1 draw, 6 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. 27 years old, 5-fight win streak. Trains out of SBG Ireland with the likes of like Conor McGregor. Really tough and gritty guy. He has some good wrestling with good top control. Stand-up defense is terrible, man. I mean, Mike King was just beating him up. I think Pendred's fighting at 170 now. Yeah, this fight I believe is contested at 170 because he's fighting in the Ultimate Fighter at 185. I'm not always too fond of Pendred's style though. He kind of forces a takedown against a cage. Gets top control. It's not super impressive, to be perfectly honest with you. Stand-up's alright. He really gets by on being like the tough and gritty guy. And some guys should have argued against Mike King that the fight should have been stopped on strikes earlier on. It is possible that Pendred just gets, pushes Umalatov against a cage. Gets a takedown. I don't think it'll happen. I'm actually going to go with Umalatov to win this one. I like what I see out of his stand-up. He's not going to have this like huge reach disadvantage. I mean, even if he is, I don't actually know Pendred's reach, but like, I know Pendred's not the type of guy, from what I've seen, to really use his reach super well. So I think Gasan can actually utilize good stand-up on him. It's just a matter if he can like defend the takedowns too. So I'll go with Umalatov to win that one. Kind of tough to say though. Who's gonna win that? Next fight after that, Krzysztof Jotko fights Troeng. Troeng, 16-6 record with 1 draw, 6 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. Has his 2 losses by submission. He's 31 years old. A 2-fight losing streak. Most recently losing to Trevor Smith. Has some solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. His stand-up's average. His stand-up defense could use some work though. With Jotko, he has a 14-1 record. 4 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub. He's 25 years old. There's not much I can say about him. Like his stand-up's kind of average. He's good enough on the ground. I can't really say anything stand out from the guy, but like I think he can beat Troeng. I don't know if he really has a better stand-up, but like when Troeng lost, it was some pretty bad fight IQ to Trevor Smith. He was doing one thing when he was winning and the other. That's the type of thing that happened. Jotko, he's looked solid. He actually has a good win over like Bruno Santos. He was a notorious grinder. He lost to Magnus Cedenblad. Yeah, sorry, I can't say more about this fight. I'm not super impressed with both these guys. I see more upside with Jotko too, and like I said, he's like solid, but just not spectacular. So I'll go with Krzysztof Jotko to win that one. Next fight after that, Mairbek Taisumov. Oh, another off, actually. Fights Marcin Bandel. There's with Taisumov, 21-5 record, 9 wins by KO TKO, 10 wins by sub, 26 years old. He's got some good stand-up. His ground game's good too. His offensive takedowns aren't too bad. His overall ground game's good. Against Nico Prazeres, he showed some pretty weak takedown defense. He's grabbing defense multiple times. Just did not look good with his takedown defense there. Marcin Bandel, 13-2 record, 1 win by TKO, 12 wins by sub. He's 24 years old, 12-fight win streak. Trains out of Drysdale Jiu-Jitsu. It's his first fight in the UFC. He's kind of like Marcin Held or Imanari. I mean, this guy is a leg lock specialist, and if he does, he'll transfer. Like, a lot of his submission wins are like leg lock or like armbar. He has an Omoplata win too, and 1 win by TKO in his like first pro MMA bout. All his wins are in the first round. All of them except for one of them are one of his wins are by submission. And most of them are either leg lock or armbar with 1 omoplata in there. He's never been past the second round. That wasn't a loss too. I don't know. I think the fight he was in didn't have a third round, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got some good Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills. He will dive for leg locks. Kind of reminds me of like Marcin Howden in a sense. But Marcin actually looked really good against Patricky Pitfall and fought a more economic fight. I don't think Marcin Bandel has that in him to do that. I think he'll aggressively go for the submission. So that makes it really hard to say because, Marcin could just dive for his like submission and maybe get the win, or Taisumov could possibly beat him up on the feet. I don't really know. I'll say this. I think Bandel will be able to take the fight to the ground. Either he dives for something and gets dives for a leg lock and manages to get the fight to the ground, or Bandel's going to very aggressively try and take the fight to the ground. So, tough to say. I'll go with Marcin Bandel to win that one because I think he'll eventually be able to take the fight to the ground. And finally, Ernest Chavez fights Zubaira Tukhugov. Ernest Chavez, 7-1 record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 4 wins by decision, 31 years old. He actually, his first fight in the UFC was against Yosdeni Sedeno, who's actually a pretty good prospect. And he beat Sedeno using superior wrestling, superior grappling, and good top control. And stand-up's improving too. He fought against Elias Silverio, who I'm super high on. And Silverio's a huge lightweight, and this fight's at 145. And Chavez actually showed some improved stand-up in that fight. But yeah, so Ernest Chavez, pretty good fighter. A lot of people don't know much about him, but solid fighter actually. Zubaira Tukhugov, I actually it's been a while since I saw him fight. He only fought once in the UFC. He fought against Douglas Silva de Andrade. So man, it's rewatched that fight. 16-3 record, 5 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. He's only 23 years old on a 7-fight win streak. Trains out of Tiger Muay Thai with the likes of Brian Ebersol and Roger Huerta. He has good stand-up skills. He'll use spinning strikes, spinning back kicks, spinning back fist. He's got a good kicking game, and he does have a sambo background as well. He's a pretty under-the-radar prospect. A lot of people don't know about him, but he's pretty good. Definitely has some potential has some really good potential. That's all I can say. So with that said, I gotta go Zubaira Tukhugov to win that one. I liked what I saw from his stand-up. I think his sambo background might be able to even get him takedowns, or at least keep the fight to the feet. So, to recap, on the main card, I got Gunnar Nelson over Rick Story, Max Holloway beating Akira Corassani, Ilir Latifi over Jan Blachowicz, and Niklas Backstrom beating Mike Wilkinson. On the prelims, I have Scott Askham over Magnus Cedenblad, Nico Musoke over Alexander Yakovlev, Dennis Siver beating Taylor Lapilus, Gasan Umalatov over Cathal Pendred, Krzysztof Jotko beating Troeng, Marcin Bandel over Mairbek Taisumov, and Zubera Tukhugov over Ernest Chavez. So that's it for my predictions for UFC Fight Night 53, Nelson versus Story. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for You. Thank you guys very much.